We are live. Good to see you today, my EOS Podcast friends. We have a great show for you today. Today we have Sergii from Attic Lab on the show. We're going to talk about what's interesting going on in EOS right now and then what Attic Lab's up to. So, Sergii, welcome to the show. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you for hosting us. I am Sergii. I am the CEO and the founder of the Attic Lab. Attic Lab is, first of all, is a development company. The majority of us are developers. I am a developer and software engineer myself. But part of our company are the bankers and traders. So we are blockchain and crypto company which are a bit disappointed in the current finance and banking. And that's why we try to do something to change this financial world and to make it a little bit better. So that's why we are in the crypto, that's why we are in the EOS, and that's why we are EOS book producers. And that's why we are very curious and interested about the REX. Is there something that is going on in the EOS right now? And it was that I was waiting for the long time, but honestly, I'm a bit disappointed for right now because of lack of buyer and seller possibility to make a free market. I guess that developers from Block 1 of the REX developers were a bit afraid of making EOS into a security token. That's why the REX is not a free market, but in any case, it's one of the best things that could be on-chain protocols from all the blockchains we know.
Yeah.
So for currently, we are very happy that REX appears. So it's very important for EOS and blockchain as well. But we hope it will be developed to the full market and will be one of the first resource exchange on the free market and on the crypto space.
Yeah, it's REX. It simplifies it a lot. Maybe for people who aren't interested in the the trading aspect of REX. But so you're saying that you prefer the free market more like what Shintai has, where there's an order book and you can put in the prices that you'd like to lease out or rent EOS for. So you like Shintai better?
Yes, I prefer the Shintai scheme better because it's more understandable and it's more clear for the people and for the free market and trading as well. Mm-hmm. So buyer seller can put the fair price, and if order match, it will be the deal. REX is something different because the seller has no ability to set the fair price, and that's why the order books is scaled in the one hand, and there is no much demand for the right now. And I am like a developer of the exchange, know that it is not good for order book and market as well. Mm-hmm. And this is the reason I might a bit disappointed for right now. But I repeat myself, it's a first step, and we're happy that this step appears.
Yeah, it seems like the REX is kind of it's a way to redistribute the EOS that's been saved through the name service, the name purchasing, and the so there's some EOS that needs to be, or that the community would like redistributed. It seems like REX is kind of a vehicle for that, as opposed to some sort of free market exchange where Shintai is doing a great job of filling that for that free market role. Do you think down the road we'll see REX turn into have an order book and become a free market, or do you think it's going to stay as this, kind of this redistribution of EOS channel?
For right now, unfortunately, not many people understand the full power of the EOS. For my close community and for my friends, majority of my friends are traders or developers. They still think the EOS like another cryptocurrency. We just make another smart contracts, and are not very familiar with the distributed computers computing like the EOS is aimed to be. So I think that now the big problem for the liquidity of the REX and EOS is not enough educated people around the world which know what the main power and what the main goal of the EOS. But I see how the things are dramatically changes. So EOS is like the child who is just 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
And for the 1 year is enough clever and enough powerful child. If the child will be the age like the Bitcoin or the Ethereum, I am pretty sure that things will dramatically change, and the REX and all other stuff will have more users, have more liquidity, and these things will be stabilized itself. So it's my opinion.
Yeah, and so Attic Lab is a developer company in general, and you mentioned the entire crypto space, Bitcoin, Ethereum. There's all kinds of projects out there. What were you developing with? What other platforms have you developed with, or are you developing with?
So a bit history of Attic Lab. It was created like the near 3 or 4 years ago. In Ukraine, and our goal was to create the e-money, but e-money for the retail business, for the customers, just for the simple people. And our goal was to make the distribution of this e-money as cheap as possible, because the main pain of banking right now and is the customer acquisition cost is very high. That's why my goal was to create a system, banking system, which was be able to marketing just with email, something like the PayPal, but here in our local market. We spent a bit time and discovered that blockchain, like a technology, was one of the best solution for this task, and this was the way how I was trying to implement this technology into real banking. It was very difficult because all the people inside the bank was not pretty sure that it is suitable and it is enough measure and so on. But after making this project, I was 100% sure that it's something that will change the finance system, banking, and all this audit stuff. And after that, it was curious how the ethic was created on the name, because I was asking for my banking admins and DevOps to create a simple server to install all the software that will create it, and it takes 2 months of struggling with inside the bank to create it. That's why I bought a simple computer for the $100 and put in my attic in my house, and it was the first server for this e-money, which called Smart Money, and it was just for fun from the beginning. Then it was created to the group of developers, when some bankers also join us, and we grow organically into the company, which was not opposite the banking, but we have the understanding how it works and how it should work. And after they realized that blockchain and crypto is something that can help us, we become the crypto and blockchain company and still are focusing only in this field.
And so that open source banking software, that's Open Bank IT. Is that what you're talking about there?
Yes, it was our product. Is the product which enable banks or financial institutions to create e-money on the blockchain. Is fully open source, and it can install it and test it. It initially was created on the Stellar blockchain. In those age, it was one of the most advanced protocols for banking, because of like staking and something that what was without mining, but it missed many features that banking environment was required. And that's why after I noticed the EOS and I was discovered full the features of this software, I was very curious and interested, and we were the first who discovered and tried to implement it in the banking. And that's why we decided to become a validator. We even did not know that it will be like the block producer and all the stuff. And our engineering curiosity bring us to this world. Now we understand that staking and DPoS and POS is something that we call mining 2.1, and we try to be also validator in the other POS and DPoS chains, and it organically grow in like a validator business that we are participating right now.
Yeah, so you're validating. I know that you're a block producer for Telos, EOS.io, and what other blockchains are you supporting, or even other DPoS systems are you supporting?
Honestly, we've make a big investigation inside the white papers, all the blockchains, and we make the research, which take us like the 4 months with deep calculation of the math and so on. So we took all the POS and DPoS blockchains which have daily volume more than 1 million. We sorted in the descent order and tried to work on all of each. My personal opinion that EOS and Tezos is my favorite. My favorite because EOS my favorite like from the engineer point of view. And Tezos is my favorite from the decentralization DPoS point of view. But many other chains, like we also try to validate to be the masternode in the Dash. We're preparing to be validator in the Ethereum. We try to be validator in the Tron. Also, I honestly even do not remember all the lists because currently near 20 of the blockchains in our backlog, and we're going step by step to be all this. So, but from the engineer point of view, it was curious because we have the experience in the majority of all blockchain POS and DPoS. So I strongly can call us the POS and DPoS experts in this market.
Yeah. Were you ever a witness on Steemit? Yeah, sorry, we cut out there for a second. Were you ever a witness on Steemit?
Yes, we have a test node on the Steemit. We also are validator in some of BitShares for blockchains, like the exchanges. But as I will repeat myself, but we try to be validators currently in blockchains which are able to make some profit for us. Because now we have near the 100 of the servers. Because in order to join each blockchains, we are not lazy and not greedy. We make the fully professional infrastructure. We have lower nodes. We backup it and so on. Wow. And now we have like near the 100 of the servers, near the 20 of the people. We really work hard. And in order to feed all these engineers and all these brilliant people, we need to generate money from all the people.
What are you guys using for your servers?
It depends of the software. I mean, from the full node. For EOS, we made only bare metal servers. Because it allows us to make very fun tuning and wicking. As you know, Attic Lab is now one of the most fastest block producers from the EOS. And we really tweak the CPU, we tweak the operating system, we tweak the memory. We make many experiments in order to make the configuration especially designed for each node. For example, for the EOS node, we tweak i9 Intel server. We've do near the 5 months of the research that we can current Linux core. We designed it especially for the EOS, and only bare metal tables will allow us to do all this stuff. And my personal opinion that blockchain should hate cloud servers, because it's quite easy. Just go to the Amazon, the Google, or the DigitalOcean, buy something, just scale and pay money. But if Google, Amazon, or DigitalOcean, or somewhere else will decide to switch down this blockchain, they shortly make some rules to the firewall to deny some portion will be the big end. So Arctic Lab and I personally are very skeptical about using cloud computers and clouds into such blockchains like the EOS. From the other case, it will not allow to the other producers to make it enough fast. So be so kind to use bare metals.
Yeah, agreed. And it's good to see a lot of the block producers, as they're gaining rewards, they're putting that money into switching over to bare metal. I know a lot of them started on AWS and things like that, and then as rewards come in, we're seeing them shift to bare metal. So yeah, that's good. That's great to hear. I think that's something that a lot of the proxies and things look for, bare metal servers and that redundancy, because that's important. That's why we're doing blockchain, that decentralization. And speaking about decentralization, you mentioned Talos being one of your favorite blockchains for decentralization. What is it what do you like about the decentralization? What Talos is doing that's different from the EOS IO, or excuse me, the EOS chain?
I mentioned Tezos. It's not
Tezos. Oh,
yes,
okay.
Tezos, yes. But Telos as well. So I remember all this, the early stages of the Telos. These guys were very unhappy with top 21 book producers. They called it cartel, and they aim to make more decentralized, and it's quite good. So we still in the Telos is not profitable for us, but we still do it. We aim to make also the fastest book producer in the Telos and as well, because it's not all about the money. So if we decided to be validator or BP in any chains, first of all, for us is we need to be the first, we need to be the best, and something to be the engineering excellence. And when they really, after that, we decided to make more profit and money. What about the Tezos? And if we compare it to the EOS, I'm trying to make as much public speeches as possible, and I have already, I know top 5 questions about the EOS. Is it centralization hell? Why do really all top 21 producers know each other, and so on? Majority of the people which even do not read the white paper try to claim EOS about that centralization or centralization. Nobody knows about the speed. Nobody knows about the abilities and so on. And it's just the human nature. People are lazy. Not every people are developers, and not everyone is able to make a really deep dive in the technology and disdain the real goal of each chain. But Tezos, for me, it was something strange blockchain which was made on the very strange language or column and so on. And honestly, I was very skeptical about this future, because I'm a developer with like the 15 years of the practice, and I never heard about this strange language or column. But I'm really impressed how strong and friendly is this community. So from the community driving point of view, is one of my favorites blockchains. There is no Chinese or version of Eastern BPs or validators. There is division from the like continents, ages, countries, and so on. It's like a family, one big family which love one blockchain, and maybe not everyone knows why it was created, but it's enough funny. And they call it bakers. There are now 400 bakers, and just for this number of people live this status, because instead of 21 validators, there are 400 of the bakers. But believe me, near the 95% of all the people even do not know the difference between the consensus, between the deep technical underground things, what is going on the EOS in the Texas. And believe me, near the half of the people, something do not remember, is it Tethos or EOS and so on. So that's why for the current stage, I still saying that it is lack of education. And more education each block producers, bakers, validator, or whatever will do, the better for development of all ecosystem and mass adoption will exist.
So what do you think, what would you say the top difference is between Tezos and EOS?
For me, EOS is really enterprise level solution. So it's aimed to be the high load. So it's aimed to process financial transaction, and it's really distributed computer. So it's not just a white paper, it's something that proof on the on-chain. I was very impressed. We make a near in transaction per second on our testnet in the communication with another block producers in the jungle testnet. And do you know how many transactions per second have the whole, for example, Russian Federation? 1,000.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So now EOS has the proven limit of the 4,000. But if the majority of the block producer will tweak all these processes like the CPU, core network, and so on, we can be faster even for the Visa and MasterCard. So it's something that really inspired me to be here, and it's something that give me the argument. If somebody from the bankers and somebody from the financial sector says it's not enough merchant, it's slow, and so on. So really, for me, EOS is the most mature blockchain for the enterprise level for the financial sector. As I mentioned to you below, we are was created by the bank inside the bank, and that's why I try to measure the blockchains from this point of view. So if bankers or some who is connected with the money transfers and this business seen me, believe me, from our experience, EOS is the one best choice for you like the platform.
Very good. Yeah. And you did at Attic Lab, you did a crypto exchange as well. You talked about the banking industry. You also did Cryptagio. Is that still going? And what's the status with that project?
It's also about our spirit and our strategy. My vision of decentralization is not just decentralization of the blockchain in the Cardano or EOS things. For me, decentralization means that every country, every currency has each stable coin. And for me, I think if country will have 5 competing different stable coins, it will be good. So for example, we have now Tether, which has some problems. We have USDC, we have TrueUSD, and so on. So if will be 5 stable coins in dollars, I will be sleep well. So then I need that will be 5 stable coins for euro, then 5 stable coins for Russian ruble on Ukrainian hryvnias. Is mean for me decentralization. Then another very important thing for decentralization is the exchanges. So these exchanges should be the local gateways for the local currency in order to allow people to participate in this new generation of finance. That's why we are creating this exchange. It was created in the Estonia because from the European Union is one of most modern countries which issue the license, which allow us to exchange virtual assets to the fiat money and to be the custodian for the virtual currencies. The name of the exchange is Codex.1. Cryptaggio is the name of the company which is registered in Estonia. Now Codex is the gateway for our local currency hryvnia. So we live in Ukraine and we do all the possible for our citizens to be the gateway for the crypto world. And also we are connected to the euros. So our goal of our Codex is to be the local gateway, and we do all our best to be it as long as possible. And I wish that every country has its own exchange with own gateways and with own stable coins. For me, it will be real decentralization.
Yeah, and you like the idea of having, you said 5 different stable coins for every country, and is that because of redundancy? Is that because there's not a single point of failure? Why is that represent a good thing to you?
Exactly. It's not want to be. I don't want to have a single point of failure. So as I said you in the beginning, I'm a developer. Mm-hmm. So my mindset is something that is if, else, when. Mm-hmm. And this mindset shows me that some alternatives should exist, especially if we want to build the real new generation system. And that's why each country has more than one exchange, because governments are changing, but governments are now enough powerful to switch off and off each exchange. But will not be possible to switch off like the hundreds of the exchanges or the hundreds of the stable coins. And until like you and me and our customers and our community will exist, we'll be struggling to build really this new financial decentralization system.
Yeah. One of the interesting projects talking about that decentralization or just getting different nodes all over the place is Sovereign Sky. Are you familiar with Sovereign Sky or that project?
Unfortunately, not familiar.
No. They are sending nodes in space. So they've already launched a couple satellites, and they're planning to run the EOS blockchain from space. So I think that is kind of a cool project. But that's how big people start to think about decentralization. When people are getting nodes out at sea or up into space where they're kind of untouchable by governments. There's a lot going on as far as pushing this decentralization forward. It's pretty cool. Yeah. So
it could sound strange, but if we'll back to our history, we'll see that most crazy and strange idea really were able to change this world. So even in the space, if it sounds strange, but it's fully supported for me. It's something that grab attention. It's something that could make some very unexpected choices or use cases for our future development.
Yeah, you never know. It's cool to see all the, that's part of the reason I do the podcast is people are doing so many interesting things, just trying to really push the space forward. And I get to learn about all kinds of interesting stuff doing this. That's part of the reason that, that I love doing it. So as far as the EOS blockchain goes specifically, you have a couple projects that are in development. You've got an offline voter and also a wallet, or that you've already developed. Why the offline voter, and talk a little bit about those.
Offline voter was one of our first tools. Is honestly one of the most easy things. Then we decided to be a block producers. I just call all my friends and ask guys who have some EOS, can you support us? Because we need voting, it's important, you should stake and so on. But the majority of the people, we just have it on the smart contract on the Ethereum. They were lazy to transfer it for the EOS. Then they was transferred when no any cold storage. Scatter was on the very early stage. It was really difficult to convince people to participate in somehow. And the majority of my friends say, okay, well, you are crazy. We will not be put our private keys in some web form, and sorry, I trust you, you're a good guy, but we will not be never do it.
Yeah.
So we just were forced to do it and to put in our website just to help our close community, my friends, to download it and to see how it works. Then the next things, I will tell you that my personal opinion about decentralization, that each customer have the ability to exchange this crypto in the local currency, and to give the to have the ability to exchange grivnas, whatever else, to the EOS. And that's why we have made a very long development to two of this platform for the Android, for the web, and US. We've spent a huge effort and the money to convince our local banks to deal with the EOS and all this stuff. And we slowly but integrating all this software, including wallets, exchange, banks, to give ability for the customers to be to have a gateway from the EOS to the fiat currency and over the verse. So soon our wallet will be connected to our exchange, and will be help customers for easy integration even without registering on the exchange. Just cash in and cash out is our main goal. And believe me, it's not only about the money, because we invested a huge number of the money into development, but we still not make not $1 from this wallet.
Yeah. And what are your, so you have my EOS wallet is my Attic Lab. And I know a lot of people know about that. It looks like you're also working on a mobile wallet. How's that coming along?
Now we are in the Google Play, and we are in the Apple Store. Totally, we have something like the 4,000 installation on the both platform. So I hope it's enough successful for our area, because we are not aimed to be on the China market or for the United States markets. We sit here and we try to serve our local community. And I know the number of people who are interested in this technology in our site, and believe me, it is quite a good success to have the 4,000 installation. And it's keep growing on, and people ask us for the free accounts, for some educational, and we do all our best in our limited resources.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And another project you guys are working on is Promote EOS, and that is like a block explorer and block explorer with EOS Analytics. How's that? How far along is that project?
For me, analytics and is endless project. So I am developer, and I like to make decisions based on some digits. So if I need to decide something, how to continue or manage our company, I need digits. I need to see what is going on inside. And that's why we'll be making the dashboards, we may make some infographics and all what is about the stats in each blockchain the way of validators. So it's endless process. It will never end.
Yeah. Well, what's next for Attic Lab? What's on the roadmap a year down the road from now?
Unfortunately, I'm not able to find more people for our company. We just enough small. We near the 30 people, and it allow us to continuously make only a few projects. But personally, I'd like to work on them more. So Codex One is our exchange. It's also it's for the local market. All the other validator business, we call it Everstake. So Everstake One is separated business unit, which is aimed to be the block producer, validator, witness nodes, and so on, to be but on the professional level. One of our new project we'll call Zigzag. So it's something like the MakerDAO for the EOS. It will be also the stable coin with the collectorized like CDP, but with the ability to support voting and all the features that specifically for the EOS. But it will be for the release on the few months. We make it together with one of also best teams from the Ukraine. But I will disclose it more details for the end of the June. I will see what Dan Larimer and the June 1 will say. Maybe he will issue the same projects and we will be out of the game. We'll see.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm going to Washington D.C. for June 1, so I'll be out there to see the announcement live. I'm really curious. What do you think he might? What's your guesses on what may be announced or what they're working on?
I really do not know, because we try to discuss internally, and I'm not sure that obvious things I will guess, because obvious things for me is like stable coin, because Dan has a practice with the BitShares. Maybe it's something will be like social networks because it's Steemit, but on the EOS. But I think I have internal feeling that it will be something bigger and greater. But we know that Dan is great mind, and maybe we didn't have to guess the full power of his skills and his mind. So we'll see. I guess it will be much more bigger than the BitShares and this.
Well, I love that thought. I have no idea either. I ask everyone, and I haven't heard any answers that make me feel real confident. I feel like Dan will probably surprise us. He's a really big thinker. You know, do you follow the Telegram channel, the EOS Telegram channel when Dan's in there talking?
Yes, I am following the Twitter and following the Telegram and so on. And sometimes he's really make me crazy because thousands of the messages should be in your attention. I've had a little vacation a week ago. I went to the Egypt, to the Hurghada. I decided to obtain the open water diver. So I just switch off my communication for just 5 days. Then I switch on my telephone. I was noted the thousands of the messages, the hundreds of the emails, and I still cannot handle all this stuff. So I just understand how difficult and how to be in modern communication industry. So in order to be in the business, you just need to feed and to eat like a numerous number of information. And sometimes I remember my school years, then I have no phones, and I was very happy. So something it's very difficult to be here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. It's a constant struggle. It's a real balance. I actually I just took a vacation as well. I left on last Thursday, so I was gone Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So yeah, about 5 days. And when I came back, same thing. I had thousands of messages. I was trying to catch up, and just I had people telling me things that would have happened that kind of surprised me. It was just kind of overwhelming. The modern communication is very, is very different. It feels good to put your phone down and get away from the electronics for a little while, but when you come back, it's overwhelming. It's crazy. So where'd you go in Yosemite, or excuse me, where did you go in Egypt, you said?
It was Hurghada.
Okay, and what's there?
Why I choose Hurghada? Because there is a dive center which is founded by the French and Swiss guys. So I repeat this like 10th time that I'm developer, and I try to think if, else, then. And I understand that local diving center, which is founded by Egyptian people, are now so strict in the rules, and I feel it will be quite dangerous for my life to do not know all this stuff.
Okay.
So that's why I've selected the most strict guys who will teach me, and that's why I go to, especially for this direction. So
Okay.
I not went for the location, I went to a specific school.
Okay, and so you said diving?
Yes, diving. So in the diving equipment, I was under the water. The first stage was something like near 15 meters. And in the Egypt, in the Red Sea, is the most beautiful. All the life is like in the 10 meters. It was curious for me to have a more deep dive into advanced water diver for the up to 40, but nothing to see.
Okay.
Just blue ocean, like blue sea. I'm not so advanced to go to the caves and maybe some ships, but it was fun. It was fun enough.
Oh, that's cool.
It's
Yeah.
something like the underwater yoga.
Okay. Underwater yoga. Okay. Yeah, a little bit of meditation going on down there.
Yes, and for to be the EOS book producers, you constantly need to have rest for some meditation or yoga, definitely, in order to save the brains.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta take care of your brain, or else it'll melt. And then, yeah, you don't want to melt the hard drive. Well, cool. I have scuba diving on my list of things to do. But yeah, I haven't done it yet, but I would love to do that. Also visit Egypt. I really want to visit Egypt. I want to go out there and see some of the ancient sites and the pyramids and things like that. So someday. Cool. Well, as we're winding up here, what do you have? Is there any calls to action or anything any asks you'd like to say to the audience? Anywhere you'd send them?
The only things that I dream is to make our community, it makes our audience more educated in the technical things and especially in the finance things. I am observing the people, and I decided that doesn't depend from the country. There are many financial stupid things that people do in the Ukraine, as well in the Egypt, as well in the Estonia, United States, because many of the people are lazy to learn. They are lazy to make some financial habits, and these people are also lazy to learn the techniques about the blockchain and so on. So if you have some knowledges, just share with your friends, with the community. More knowledge will be our community, our friends. It will be more rich, and it will be. Oh, I think I lost you.
Oh.
Yeah, and for me, the most important things are financial education and the technical education.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided that for my age, for my conscious age, then my brains I will be still working. Software development is something which will be driving the world. So that's why I feel in the right place and in the right time. But I was very sad to see how people which make a good investment on the Bitcoin, all this hype, and which are able to make $1 million, just lose their money in a few months. They make very stupid things. So they feel rich, but they were not rich, they were stupid. It was just a luck. But if you do not invest in your education and in your knowledges, you will lose it. So definitely for me, techniques like that, programming or just at least education, how all this stuff works, will help you to be on the next level. But if you will have a financial habits which will at least will not allow you to lose your money and to make some investments, you will feel better and you will be better man. And if you will be more wealthy man, you will be able more time to educate, to help other people. So it's just how society our need to develop and to grow. And it is my dream.
Yeah. That continuing education is important. And like you said, a lot of people got lucky and were rich for a few moments during the last bull run and then lost it all. And so the financial education, I mean, losing money is a great financial great prod to poke people and make them educate themselves financially. So hedging. What would your advice be to people who are invested in cryptocurrency as far as educating themselves? What would you think for the normal person, where would they go to educate themselves about financial literacy, let's say?
So cryptocurrency and stocks market are a bit different. So be different about the risk management. For me, investment and trading and whatever else, first is risk management. Before you are ready to lose or invest at least $1, please just educate yourself what risk is. and how to manage your risk. If you will be able to manage your risk for the $1 or the $100, and you will be to manage this good enough, you will be able to manage this risk the same for the 1,000, 100, a million. There's something that you need to do. So why people just have the license to choose the people to become a doctor? Because it's dangerous. Somebody need to control the risk. Why people need to obtain the license in order to manage the funds like fund manager? Because somebody knows that you should manage your risk. And the same things about your money. If you got ill, you go to the doctor. But if you take your money, you also need a doctor, a money doctor. Please become a money doctor for your money, and you will be much more happy and much more wealthy.
Yeah, that's a great point. One of the my favorite dives into risk management was through Nassim Taleb and his books. He's got I think it's called the Inserto, but it's Black Swan, and then Fooled by Randomness, and then Anti-Fragile. Those three books for me were kind of the beginning into risk management and what risk is. Because it's a really, risk is a small word, but it's a really deep concept that you can dive really far into. And for me, it's extremely interesting. So those are some recommendations to anyone who's listening. Yeah.
One of most very easy but clear things about risk management was when I made my certification for the skydiving. I also like to jump from the plane.
Oh, cool.
And no one clever man, cautious will begin to jump from the plane without the proper education. Because everybody knows if you will do it, you will be very big risk to die.
Mm-hmm.
And when I realized it, that you just need to make a very strict, along, and to be disciplined on this stuff, the same for the money. If you do not know how to jump and how to land, don't jump.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah, you're putting yourself at risk of ruin. That's the main thing. You can't, that tail risk of everything complete failure is not a place you want to have the possibility of, especially skydiving. You don't want the possibility of that, the risk of ruin there. So, great. Well, thank you for coming on the show, Sergii. I appreciate it. And it's cool to hear about Attic Lab and everything that your team is up to. And I think one of the biggest takeaways for me that I'd like people to remember from this talk was that Attic Lab runs many nodes and has redundancies and is one of the fastest block producers out there as far as transaction speed goes, and running on bare metal servers. So your team's doing it right, and the EOS community should appreciate that. My proxy, I have a proxy, mrhappymoney proxy. So if anyone looking for someone who's educated on the block producers to vote on their behalf, mrhappymoney proxy is my proxy. I vote for Attic Lab, and you just heard the reasons why. So you guys are on my proxy list. And so that is the show for today, Serge. And any final thoughts as we wrap up here?
I just want to thank you for the hosting us. I just thank you for adding us to the proxy. I'm very happy to be present for the wider community, and I hope that I share my opinion, our vision, our goal, our strategy, and I will find somebody who will also share all this value. And believe me, we do all the best to bring the EOS to the enterprise level, to the more mass adoption, for the more education, and we quite opening for all of you to share our knowledge and to help as much as we can.
Well, thank you very much, Serge. A pleasure having you on the show, and thank you, my EOS podcast friends. Until next time, cheers.
Cheers. Thank you. Bye.
The money is not the prime asset in life. Time is, and your time is just